Hi, Joe. How you doing?
I'm doing well, Carlos. It's another fine afternoon here in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And I'd
Absolutely
like
is.
and I'd like to give a shout out to our some of our newest fans. I'd like to say welcome to our friends in Slovenia, and I would like to say that here in dobrodošli, which is the word welcome in Slovenia. So thanks for tuning in,
Excellent.
and we're glad you're here, and
Yeah.
I hope you're enjoying Forgotten Television, focusing now at this point on The White Shadow.
Yeah. Absolutely. You know what? The fans of Carver High know no geographic boundaries, as we're discovering when we're looking at some of our stats. So, welcome and drop us a line. Let us know how you heard about us. And are you somebody that knows us that happens to be traveling, or how did we end up on your feed? Did you misspell a word and somehow you're listening to these two strange men in Minnesota talking about a TV show from the 70s? Just let us know. I'm really curious to hear about how you're finding us.
So very good.
Yeah.
Well, our next episode, Spare the Rod, something that
Absolutely.
a phrase probably not used much in seriousness today.
You know what? Yeah, what was the old saying from that era, or from the prior era? Spare the rod, spoil the child.
Correct. So that's what that's a play on, obviously, and it's probably to date the most serious topic kind of handled
Uh,
here, I think.
yeah, no, and definitely the most serious dramatic scene that a topic that even to this day, a subject that even to this day is disturbing when you see it on television. It's not shown very frequently, but yeah, there is one thing that is non-plot related in this that I thought I'd ask you about.
Okay,
There was a drill that they did in this episode,
I
which
have
is
that.
where the ball, basically you're like you're just trying to keep them from getting past you to the ball, and you got your back to it. I never saw that drill. Is that something you'd ever seen or experienced before?
I have. I had that in my notes where in sophomore year, that
Yeah.
was one of the drills that we did. And the goal is you're boxing them out and you don't want
Yeah.
them to touch the
Yeah.
ball. And I can still remember to this day, in sophomore year, I alluded to it on the park bench perspectives. I
Yeah.
talked about, we'll get one thing in our sophomore year, but we had lost a game the week. So our coach was like Coach Reeves in that scene where particularly upset at the time. And that's when that
Yeah.
drill comes out. And then I was boxing out one of my friends, Mike F. And as I was boxing him out, he fell down
Oh.
and he was a little slow to get up. And the coach kind of barked, "Get up," quite menacingly. And
Not,
still
are you
remember,
okay, son? No.
yeah. And so so that kind of brought back that memory
Funny.
to me.
I
But
saw it.
yeah,
I'm like, it wasn't like, boy, that's stupid. I'm like, that's a good drill, but my illustrious basketball career ended at 14. So the fact I'm not familiar with the drill is not shocking, but I had not seen it and it stuck out in my mind.
yeah. Think about that at 60. It's, oh my God, that
Yeah.
would really hurt.
Exactly.
Moving that way.
In a much more realistic scenario than earlier in the season, Ken Reeves needs to fill in and substitute, but this time for a gym teacher, not the home ec teacher. So,
Correct.
and that's how the plot gets going here. He has a young man in his phys ed class that doesn't want to participate, doesn't want to listen, basically giving him lip, but in a more hardcore way than with the basketball players, right? You know what I mean? He had a little bit of that, but this kid was on another level.
And the writers try to portray him a little bit as someone not socially well adjusted. Psychopath is too strong a word, but he was a sociopath, maybe in one sense, without using that word. And the kids used, he's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, but at first they're like, he's crazy, but he's not that crazy.
Yep.
He's crazy, but funny crazy.
So they set that up about him, and then they're all kind of friends from junior high. And I think at one point they tell a little story about what he did to somebody's shoes, a teacher's shoes, as I recall. But yeah, so he is a guy that they menacing. And then when his interaction with Reeves, or can you even, as an adult, if someone was doing that, just laying on the bench and being a smart person, it would not pass muster. It was just something that I think would have been, it seemed very realistic, at least that particular set.
Yeah, and I can tell you, I experienced teachers touching students in the 80s when the students as an adult sitting here now, I'm like, I don't blame them.
Yeah.
I will use an example from my high school. My high school in the 80s, I think it was unique that we required CPR certification for all students, which is something I think that came later for a lot of places. But the teacher, Gordy Wyrock, if you are ever in St. Louis Park, Minnesota, I think he has passed, but he devoted a tremendous amount of time, effort, blood, sweat, and tears, begging, getting money to get all of these dummies and set up the program in the high school. It was part of health class. You had to be certified, which think about it is probably a worthy goal. And this teacher went out, and one of our classmates one day just decided to, and it was a double room. If you've ever seen those rooms where you can pull the accordion thing and it's double, and the front half was the classroom, the back half was the dummies. And one of our classmates, whose name will go nameless, if he wants to call in and say he can identify himself, but he decides to walk across the chests of the dummies into the room. And this teacher physically grabbed him and picked him up and carried him to the office. And once again, even at the time, I'm like, I think you were being a little bit of a, you know what I mean? So what Reeves does here, I don't think is out of line. Would you describe it? It's like a push hit. I mean, it wasn't like there was a punch thrown directly. You know what I mean? It was.
So I think that the student instigated it.
Yeah.
And then suckered punched him in a sense.
Yeah.
And then you could see Reeves turning his back to us in the camera and just turning around and hitting the kid. And then it was never explicitly laid out with Kevin Hooks, the actor played his character, alluded that it happened so fast, but it looked like every student after the fact we found out was on Coach Reeves's side.
And what I found interesting, and I wonder if that were to air today, at no point did anybody suggest that Reeves was in trouble, or that he would get suspended, or that we need suspended without pay or with pay for investigation. None of the things that I would imagine would happen in 2026 if that exact set of facts happened.
Yes.
I would think that, and once again, I'm a licensed attorney and I can say this, the reason that they can't do it that way anymore is because of lawyers. They ruin everything. So you have to go through processes and things like that. But at no point does that happen to Reeves. But Reeves, being the guy that we've gotten to know, feels bad about it. First of all, for losing his cool and going and wanting to find out what's going on with this kid. How can I help this kid? What's the deal? Asking, which is his MO. We've seen his like going, I'll go see the dad. I'll go figure it out. What's going on? What's the problem? And very mature answer for this kid. He's broke. You know what I mean? He's broken human.
Yeah. Yeah. He wanted to be an advocate for the kid. He didn't think it was his fault. It was he's the one who was the adult.
Yeah.
But the kid was nefarious, right? He
exactly.
He was he was lying about his parents.
Yes.
And because he was trying to not get suspended.
Yes.
And then when Reeves went to their house and met the mother and the father, he seemed confused. And even at that point, I don't think even Reeves was backing away from punishing him. But there was another side thing that, as you recall, those teachers were cheering on Reeves in a sense. And the one teacher,
they were saying, way to go. They came up to him more than once saying, finally, someone is standing up for us. And I'm ashamed of what I did, essentially, is what he's saying. I don't want kudos for it.
Yeah, and it was the one teacher wanted him to press charges was the one who showed him his war wounds, right? He got cut by this student in the 60s, and it was quite that was really graphic, and I think from the teacher's perspective, this episode written.
Yeah. And I often say it that I feel like I was born in Pleasantville. The era I was born in and where I was born in, I realize is unique to me and is not a universal experience, but I never remotely encountered any time in the public school system a student throwing hands on teachers, even remotely. Yeah. It was just not, it would have been the most shocking thing we'd seen. Now I realize, check your privilege, Carlos, that may be a lot about where you grew up and where you live and everything else, but that was shocking. But it was interesting the way they addressed this, because it was, once again, the easy way to do it would be, he's an orphan and all he needs is a break. And all of a sudden, look, someone believed in him. And it was like, you know what? That's not real life, right? Sometimes you have bad kids, then you can't help them. And I think that's an okay lesson.
Yeah. And I think too, that was played out when Reeves was talking to the parents were we have two really great kids, and we've tried everything with Lucius, but the character's name was Lucius Robinson.
Yes.
We couldn't do anything. It was almost kind of sanguine, almost harkens back to when Jackson's dad was like, "Oh, yeah, I'm not that close to my son."
I don't know. Good thing he's got a basketball coach who cares.
Yeah, so it was, and those people were specifically in that scene where Reeves made them to see them as middle class people. Right? The house, he's a bus driver. It looked like
So let's take all of the ghetto talk. Which to me once again is a realistic portrayal, considering the fact that it was the Cosbys that were credited with showing a middle class black family to America.
Correct,
and they were showing that a little bit here. That is a key point, and actually I think they tell a better story by them not doing the kind of rote stereotype that they could have in their storytelling.
Yeah, and they did a good job with that, and then even they did some foreshadowing with Lucius when he was talking to his buddies on the basketball team guys, where he said about Miss Pringle.
Yeah,
and he alluded that he liked Miss Pringle.
Oh, yeah.
And then obviously comes the scene where things go awry, where the kid goes over jumps the shark, you would say.
And then Reeves hears him walking down the hallway.
Yep.
Hears that there's a commotion and an assault happening. Something's happening in Miss Pringle's office or Miss Buchanan's office.
Yeah.
I really think that they should have made her Miss Pringle, because I think that's a better name. And we're going to have her on the show, darn it, as soon as I figure out how to get a hold of her.
There we go.
But
I mean, go ahead. It was just really tough. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, it was an uncomfortable scene. Seeing rape depicted on it's always any number of horrible. It's just horrible, and it's not depicted that often. And I think it was an assault, that I don't think carried very far, but clearly that she was vulnerable, and that is something that I have thought about before. I was married to a teacher once, and you just look at the size of some of these kids now.
Yeah,
I worry for the smaller folks, but she had Ken Reeves to come to her aid.
And the one thing too that maybe when I was watching the show wasn't aware of, but grew aware of it in terms of as we got into some other shows in the 80s, but that depicted high schools that were in less than impoverished areas, had security guards. There's nothing like that kind of shown in this television show now.
No.
So that's different. Even today, and knowing I've worked in some schools, and there's not security guys running around, but there are people in charge.
In St. Louis Park, we had in my high school, we had a city liaison officer, which makes sense, right? Because crime follows 15 to 25-year-old males, and you got a lot of 15 to 18-year-old males in one building, so having the relationship with a police officer makes sense. And then they had a couple of security guards, and we weren't that big a school, so that's interesting. That is not reflected at all.
Yeah. And then the guy who played Lucius Robinson, the first thing, Lucius, I wonder if they try to get as close as possible to Lucifer?
Yes, maybe. Oh, that's okay. Yeah, it's obvious, but then again, it's obvious. So, yeah.
Yeah, so it was that, and then the character who he played was Brian Stokes Mitchell. And I said to myself, I've seen that guy before.
Yeah.
And he played Dr. Justin Jackpot Jackson in the 100+ episodes of Trapper John MD.
Wow. Not having watched Trapper John MD, but that's awesome.
And
that's awesome that Lucius went on to that level of career.
And he looking at his background, he said he never waited tables, never did any of that stuff, that he always had a job, which is in his first job was this job.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yeah. So he did a good job with his career at this particular point in time. Awesome. But and then the other guy that I thought was interesting was the teacher who showed him the war wounds.
Yeah.
He's another guy that I would see throughout TV throughout the years. And the actor's name is Philip Sterling. He played the teacher. And then he was the first president of the SAG I read.
Oh, wow.
And then again, onto our theme of where this little cluster of people, he was in 12 episodes of St. Elsewhere.
St. Elsewhere, okay.
So all these people know, as you can see, it's not what you know, it's who you know sometimes, right?
Yeah, interesting.
So that was.
Do you have anything else on Spare the Rod?
No, last thing I had in my notes was end of show. I did that box out drill as a sophomore.
Yeah,
so
okay, there you go. That's awesome.
That was good. So, that's what I want to say about that one. But it further, again, the little bit was trying to, that thing was like tests against the Reeves relationship with his players.
Yeah.
How was that? How was this? How was he going to react to Lucius? And Lucius is their friend. And then, but then the kids realize at the end.
Yeah, exactly. And actually, if anything, that's got to help build the relationship.
Yeah.
And the relationships are going strong. And we're now move on to the Great White Dope. And we are introduced to the Prowling Italian.
That's right. That's right. This is where I say the show where Salami takes center stage.
He does. Salami gets his moment.
So it was, this aired during the popularity of Rocky.
Oh,
so, so Rocky would have been out maybe a couple of years before. Yep. And so that was a big movie in my life.
Absolutely. It was an earthquake of a movie for the industry and for everyone.
Yeah. And I still remember when I was a kid, we didn't go to many movies, but I remember our parents talking to us and says, hey, we're going to go to a movie. You can either go to Rocky or you can go to Bugsy Malone.
Oh.
Which was Scott Baio. It was the kids'
version. Scott Baio, Jodie Foster.
Yep. And so thank gosh we all went to Rocky, because you're walking out of that movie and you're shadow boxing it all.
If for no other reason, Rocky has helped, the franchise has helped fill our workout playlists. That's right? How many people have like, oh yeah.
So it's interesting. But yeah, it's an episode that you go ahead, Carlos, your thoughts were on it in terms of how it's laid out.
I found that, so Salami wants to be a boxer. We find out Salami's dad had been a boxer. The Golden Gloves out in New York. Yep. So I'm going to be a boxer like my dad. And he's been doing, I don't even know if they're called club fights, basically backroom bar for $10 fights kind of stuff. Not in a gym, not training. I think they're in jeans when they're fighting. And you know what? I have never been exposed to something like that, but I have no doubt it exists today.
Yeah,
in places that there has to be some unregulated boxing with the popularity of MMA and everything else, and the continuing jackassing of America. I can see that happening.
So this goes back, I did some research, Carlos. So this goes back to the 20s, but it became really prevalent in the 50s and 60s. Underground amateur boxing was woven into the bar and saloon culture across major cities. So not unusual. They kept it unlicensed, right? Because as a lawyer here, Carlos, what insurance company is going to license a bar that has fighting?
Exactly. And then when the cities don't want it, it's better. It's like a lot of rural bars and their attitude towards slot machines.
Yeah.
Have a handful. They're for entertainment only. We don't care. Just remember to buy tickets to the policeman's ball every year.
Yeah. So that was the, the interesting thing, that he was going in there and doing that.
I was just going to say, so, you had mentioned Salami has his moment, and he has his true actor moment, because he goes full on Marlon Brando on the waterfront with, I can be somebody, it could be a contender.
Yeah. Yeah. Excuse me, I got a little cough. But yeah, it was him and Reeves trying to do the good thing, right? He tried to, because the old CYO, he taught him how to box.
The first thing he does is he goes and sees his dad, right? Because that's what Reeves does. Let's see what's going on with mom and dad. And dad's, I don't want him to.
And dad had, he was a big club and he was pretty good, but he never made it big. Came out here and was laying bricks. That's where Ken Reeves meeting at his job. Yeah. And then every night the guy goes to a bar. Yeah. And surprisingly not too far away from where the boxing bar was.
Of course not, because LA is a small town. Everybody knows everybody. It was the 70s. They only had 20 million back then.
Yeah, so, that interesting.
The other note I have on this one is once Reeves is on board and the team is on board, and Thorpe is trying to rile him up. They're coming for a nickname, and Thorpe does one heck of a good Howard Cosell.
That's what I was going to say.
Which is, I don't think is appreciated today. And then it actually got me to go down a rabbit hole. I'm like going, I don't think there is a more distinctive voice in the history of sports announcing. You can maybe do some baseball announcers, but Howard was pretty unique.
Yeah, and I would say, too, that from what I was going to tell the young kids, hey, anyone has heard of Howard Cosell?
Yeah, that's true. That's the ultimate thing. I dove in there, and it's probably they haven't.
Yep, and he is an iconic voice of probably the 60s, 70s, boxing, football. Yep. So he's done a lot of particular
Monday
things
Night Football was big. He was the constant voice of Monday Night Football across a fair number of different hosts.
And I think, too, Carlos, he interviewed the president of Cuba, Fidel Castro.
Yeah,
he kept calling him El Comandante.
El Comandante, yes.
Which was controversial, and I don't know why, because Castro was a big baseball player, right?
He was. He actually, the story goes that he tried out for the Washington Senators as a pitcher in the 50s. The world could have gone a different way had.
Yeah. It's probably because Calvin Griffin didn't want to give him a contract, right?
Well, that was the thing. The problem is, like, we can sign you. We don't know, no money attached to it.
So it was the rise of that. The other thing that I liked about this show was foosball arcade.
Yes.
So that was kind of the beginning of when, we had that kind of, that was something I could identify with from my childhood.
Very big. It was very big. So foosball, air hockey to me will always have a special place, because if you had a friend who had an air hockey table, that was amazing.
Yep.
But foosball, and that was fun. I was never very good. I was just spin. You know what I mean? Spin and pray. But I don't even think you're allowed to spin in real competitive foosball, but I was never competitive. If something good happened, it was pure luck.
Yeah, I was not great football player. Never had the fire in the belly for it. But I liked seeing that, though. It just brings me back to everyone, not everyone, but a lot of people had them in their basement, and arcades had them.
We may be having another Howard Cosell moment. I don't know when the last time I saw a foosball table, so the kids may not even know what the heck those are, but it's kind of a soccer with, I don't know, with rods, paddles on rods.
Yeah, shaped like soccer players, of course.
Shaped like little soccer players. Actually, kids must know about it a little bit, because I was at Twins Fest, I don't know, about 5-6 years ago, and one of the things they were doing was human foosball. They just kind of had players and little kids kind of combined doing it. But beyond that, I really thought it was fine. But I think we were talking before the show. Ken Reeves finds a former boxer, with a son who's making it, and says, can you talk to this? Can you do me a favor? Can you talk to this guy? And so they happen to run into Salami's dad, who is hanging out at that bar, and says, hey, wait, you look like you were a boxer. And befriends him and says, oh, I want you to meet my son. Oh, I heard of you. Oh, I heard of you too. And hey, we should go watch the amateur fights down the street. Great idea. There's Salami.
It was a little forced, but the relationship between the father, and it wasn't really very explicit, and Carlos Palomino, who was the boxer, who was a big deal back then.
Okay.
And I thought that's one of my memories of seeing that show and liking this particular episode. That dynamic. And Carlos Palomino, if I don't recall, doesn't really say much, if at all.
No, it's a very small role. Just, hey, hello.
Yeah, so you don't really see welterweight champions of the world hanging out at.
No, and with making their dad still be a waiter, I don't know. But I will tell you this, that I think that Salami's dad, that was not unusual for dads of that era. I mean, the strong, silent type is not just a stereotype. It was, dads didn't spend a lot of time talking about feelings in the 70s and 80s. You know what I mean? It was very much, and I'm not I don't want to get into generation wars, but we grew up in a rub some dirt on it era, right? Are you injured or are you hurt? Because if you're injured, then you got to come out. But if you're hurt, you can suck it up and go back in.
Yeah. And I think, too, there was the trope of father, son don't talk, son defies father.
Yeah.
But because he's trying to emulate father, father comes and sees him box and then gets in his corner and teaches him.
That's wonderful, though. It's cheesy, but it also is, I think it's handled well. You know what I mean? I think they fell into some TV tropes, but I think they handled it well. And once again, I like Reeves' MO. Reeves is very much okay, what's going on here? Let me talk to the people. Let's figure this out. Yep. He never doesn't like, that's not your realm or this or that. No, let's talk about this. Let's figure it out, Buchanan.
Yeah, and I thought the boxing was done very well, too. Didn't you think?
It was not bad. It was not bad. I mean, given the budget stuff they have, I think the basketball is... It's definitely not Teen Wolf quality. It's definitely better than that. And so I thought they did well with the boxing. Yeah, you're right.
And I did some research on that Carlos Palomino because I remember him big from back. He was a welterweight.
Okay.
He was the heavyweight or the welterweight champion of the world.
Okay.
Defended his title 7 times.
Okay.
He did Roberto Durand he fought against.
Okay.
Lost to Roberto Durand. He retired pretty young.
Okay.
But then he came back at the age of 47, Carlos.
Of course.
And boxed in the 90s and got up to, I think, the one before that he'd get a shot at the title and then lost that in a decision. But that's,
is he still alive? Because
he's still alive.
Is he in his 90s now or
74? I think.
I think Paul. That could be Aaron Paul's next opponent.
There you go.
That's right in his
Mike
wheelhouse.
Tice,
former champion.
Yeah. So that was it was interesting. And then the other guy who played the father.
Yeah.
He has the name Robert Costanza as the actor.
Oh, okay.
He's a guy that I've seen throughout.
Character actor from that era, yeah.
Yeah, that guy has done voice work, TV work, and movies since then to all the way up to now.
Yeah.
So he's quite the character actor that you see in big movies. And so some guys that you don't really know, but they have big careers.
Okay.
Don't flame out. I thought that was interesting about this show. And the ending, though, right? So I didn't see it in the next episode, but Salami boxed before he's going to do this, see if he's going to win that particular bout. The credits come up.
Yep.
And I bet you we don't talk about boxing again.
Yeah, we don't. And actually, I got a tease for us. So I think we're done with Salami unless you have anything else.
No, I'm good.
Wait, dope. Okay, for the next episode, for the first time this season, and I think the only time in the series, they will have an Academy Award nominee on the show.
Oh, very good.
So we'll see if you can identify them.
Okay. Yes, I do.
And the next show is mainstream.
Yes. Yeah.
I think that maybe next time we can try, because we got mainstream, Little Orphan, Abner, and LeGrand finale. I think those last two are in my own mind not the strongest, but then again, I came in with a lower opinion of The Great White Dope, and I think talking through it with you, it actually is constructed better than I had thought. That they see right now, I am working on creating fiction and writing stories, and I am deep in the brain of how to tell stories, and telling stories is about choices. And I'm noticing that when they're writing White Shadow episodes, they're not making the easy choices. You know what I mean? They go for subtlety and complexity within the realm of a 70s 1 hour melodrama, right? I'm not, this isn't Shakespeare, but they handle it well. They could make it so much more cheesier. Once again, teenagers on television at that time were being depicted as Welcome Back, Kotter. That was teenagers in this era on TV. So definitely an order of magnitude more realistic, I think.
Yeah, and I think too that even that some of the language of that age is obviously unaware of it being back there. Calling the kids animals is almost happening in every episode.
Yes. He doesn't do the one I find interesting that was very common among our coaches, which was ladies.
Oh yeah, I haven't heard that.
Ladies, and then the game day. Gentlemen, you're gentlemen now. You've had a good week of practice, this and that. And I'm like going, okay, I get it. But so I'm glad that I've not seen him do that, because that would have been more cringe. And there's not been a huge amount of cringe in season 1, as there for you, or
not really at all. Any super cringe. More surprise of the progressiveness.
Yeah,
the homosexual character, or not even that. I mean,
gender, sexuality, whatever you want to call it, just exploring the issue.
Yeah, and I think some of those things were like, I don't know, that would have just gone, maybe it just gone over my head, or memory that in the dust.
I don't know how memory works exactly. I watched this at a time when I was an adolescent that had dreams of being a basketball player because I was tall. I was taller than everybody else, and I could be good at this. And then that changed, and my skill did not make up for my loss in height advantage. But I And I remember them singing in the shower, and I thought Coolidge was cool. And I'm Hispanic, but I was a white kid in the suburbs around then, and it was cool to see inner city kids.
Yeah, it was different.
It was different. It was showing me something that was different from what I had. But they were playing a game at the time that was probably right up there with baseball as one of my loves.
Yeah, I think next episode will be ready. I think we'll close out season 1, and I'm excited about that. But no, this has been great. I think for me, it's brought a touchdown back, and every once in a while, I get the nostalgia feels. Yeah. I do get a little cringy with some of the language on occasion, but it doesn't come up. We'll have to talk about it next episode, but there's a word they use. It's, oh boy, that's not going to happen.
Is there? Oh wow, I must have missed it. So one of the other things too, I'm going to suggest that we do, and I'm just going to put this as part of the show to see if people have opinions, they can let us know. But I think you and I may have come up with our next show, but maybe we have a show in between, like when we're done with the White Shadow, talking about what our options are for the next show.
Oh yeah, I think that'd be a good idea.
I suggest them, and I don't want to trust it to a poll because maybe it's the internet, so we could end up doing Peppa the Pig as the next show.
Exactly.
And I am not familiar with the entire Peppa the Pig au revoir to feel like I can comment on it.
And I don't sure want to watch Green Acres again or anything.
But I would watch Petticoat Junction. So
there you go.
A tie in there. So, but no, there's some good ones, and I think you suggested one that I think will go. There's a lot of reasons to go for, but I think it might be fun because I think we'll be able to cover some of the one-off shows that I just want to spend 2 minutes on as part of that exercise. But we got a ways to go. We got 40 episodes, 43 episodes left. Yeah. We have 3 episodes in season 1, and then we have season 2 and season 3 left. So we got a ways to go at Carver High School.
But yeah, I think if we want to have an episode talking about what's next, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah. Awesome. All right, Joe Riley, it's been fun talking to you on Forgotten Television about the White Shadow, and we will get together next week.
All right, have a good week, and Carlos, enjoy, and good luck with the book.
Thank you, sir. Talk to you later.
Bye.